Now see...
Forget it was a tough series. Both clubs riding each other, doing everything to get each other's goat.
A time with art!
Welcome today to A Time with Art, and we're going to be live on YouTube and KSUU, and so we have invited Professor Bill Kershisnik.
Hi.
Did I say it right?
Yeah, that was good.
And we're going to talk a little bit about film studies and film and how you do what you do, and maybe we start talking about how you got here to Southern Utah University.
Yeah, so I knew when I was in grad school that I wanted to teach, but teaching film is a pretty niche area, right? And I used to joke that I would teach at Antarctica University if they had a film program. But I started off at a community college in Louisiana, Bossier Parish Community College.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm really grateful for them because, you know, like straight out of grad school, like there aren't a lot of opportunities, you know, and they were willing to take a flyer on me. And I was there for about 4 years. And then I went and taught at the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley, who I think used to play sports against SUU. I don't know if they still do.
They did, and
yeah.
I think they're not in the WAC right now.
Yeah,
So they moved somewhere else.
the Vaqueros.
The Vaqueros.
And I was only there for a year, and my family is from Utah. All my family lives in Salt Lake, and I'd been away from home for about a decade at that point. And I felt this real desire to come back home and reconnect with my family. My little sister had a child, and I didn't know the child very well. You know, all these things. And
Yeah.
I saw this position open up at SUU that felt like a really good fit because I have a background in communications, but it was also a big focus in film. And so I applied to it and didn't think anything of it. And then I remember I was going into my then girlfriend's house at the time, and I got a call from John Smith seeing if I could do a phone interview. And here we are, you know, like when I toured campus, I fell in love with it immediately. I think it's such a beautiful campus, and
There's no doubt about that. It
yeah.
is.
And I was like, I don't know what I have to do to get here, but I really want to be here. And then y'all took a flyer on me, and here we are 7 years later now.
7, that does not seem possible.
It doesn't. It might be 6. It might be. I started in summer of 2019, so.
Yeah.
It'll be,
Well,
I guess,
almost 7 years.
Yeah, 7 years this August. Isn't that crazy?
It is. And then, of course, we all went through COVID and got out of that, and that changed a lot of things, too.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that makes the time feel
Seem
kind
longer.
of unaccounted for, honestly, because we have this, like, window of 3 or 4 semesters where first it was all work from home, and if you came onto campus, it was like a zombie film, right? Like it was just totally just empty. And then we had the mask years, so there are students who like I had and built relationships with. I couldn't tell you what they look like, you know, and they would come up and like talk to me in the halls, and I'd be like, "It's really nice to meet you, I guess." But yeah, this sort of like displaced moment in time was really fascinating, and then I look back and I'm like, what happened? But yeah, I mean, besides that, I've really loved my time here. So
Good. And we've done a lot more online education because of that.
I think that's good.
Yeah, it is in a way, but like you say, you don't get to see the people, you don't get to interact with them.
Definitely.
And I've had students that were in online classes, if I saw them on the street, I wouldn't know who they were.
Oh, definitely.
And they come up and talk to you, and you go,
Yeah.
now who are you? You know?
It's weird. It's this
You're
almost...
important, but who are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost a parasocial relationship because you have so much more like recognizability as sort of the leader of this cohort than the students do. It's a very weird relationship.
So Bossier City is by Shreveport.
Yes,
part of it.
They're sister cities. Yeah.
Yeah, and we used to play basketball in Shreveport
Oh, really?
at starts with the C.
Carroll College?
No, it's a little small. Where the big basketball player for the Celtics came from. Anyway, and they were in our league, and that's how we got there.
Maybe it's not Carroll College is in Montana.
Yeah, there's
Centenary.
Centenary, yeah.
Yeah,
Why
Centenary.
couldn't I think of Centenary?
The gentleman is what their mascot was, the Centenary Gentleman. And I have a friend who went there, and she said that for a long time, the lady sports teams were called the Lady Gents, which I thought was very funny.
The Lady Gents.
Yeah,
Kind of yeah. That's interesting. They have a great baseball field there.
yeah. It's a beautiful campus.
And
I would go there for book sales.
Yeah, they used to. Anyway, and there's some great eating places that we discovered in Bossier City.
Oh yeah.
And anyway, they were very nice to us. Not that other places weren't, but you know, you get more of a down-home feeling there.
There are some great experiences there. I've had some real weird experiences in Shreveport. First off, though, just real quick, you were talking about food. Shout out to Southern Classic Fried Chicken and Sam's Southern Eatery. I'm surprised I'm still alive after, I don't know how blood is still moving through my veins after those delicious, delicious places. But yeah, I didn't have a driver's license for a really long time because I lived in Salt Lake, and so I could take the train and the bus everywhere. And then when I was in grad school, Missoula, Montana was small enough that I could really just kind of zip around. But Bossier City didn't have great public transit, and it was really big and spread out. So I took taxis a lot because this predates like Uber and Lyft being there.
Yeah.
And I had some weird experiences there. One was, I don't know if you ever saw the film The Waterboy with Adam Sandler.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And there's this like Cajun character who like speaks like in this super heavy accent, and the joke is you don't understand anything he says. You're like, rah, 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 rah. I had a taxi driver who sounded exactly like that, was shirtless in overalls, and was asking me these questions, and I was like, yes?
Yeah.
And I remember I was like halfway through this cab drive, and I was like, I wonder where I'm gonna end up. And then I had a taxi ride with a really racist guy who was asking me questions like how long I lived in Shreveport, and I was like, just like a year. And then I asked him how long he lived in Shreveport. He's like, no, I live in Dallas. Shreveport is too black for me. And I was like, I need to get out of this taxi right now. Yeah, that was a rough. That was the time I wish I had Uber so I could have lowered that star rating on that creep. But
That sounds like you could almost do a film about your taxi experience.
I probably could, a short film at least.
Yeah.
But maybe those nightmares are just for me and not for an audience.
Not for publication.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, so then before here, tell us where you grew up and what your experiences were that made you interested so much in film and maybe movies and all the things.
So it's interesting because I spend a lot of time now looking at film applications because I'm part of the film faculty as well as the comm faculty, and we see these letters where they're talking about how they've loved film ever since they were kids and stuff, and I love movies, but that wasn't what I cared about. I wasn't like watching E.T. and thinking I want to be Steven Spielberg or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But what I learned early on was that I really liked storytelling, and I liked theater a little bit, but I liked storytelling. And film is where storytelling really thrives, you know. And I like books. I like reading books. I don't have the patience to write long form books like so screenwriting. I think there's an efficiency to screenwriting that I think really vibes with how I think, and I think that making film is really the best way to tell a story. I mean, filmmaking, because it hits you in a visual and sonic way, is total communication, right? I mean, that's why like film theory was really developed in the Soviet Union, and it was funded by Joseph Stalin because he knew that he had this base population of largely illiterate people. And so how could he communicate to them effectively? And he did it through film, through narrative film. And so like it's the ultimate storytelling thing. Shout out to my man Jay Stalin. That's gonna be why I don't make Full Professor, because I'm throwing out props to Joey Steele. But yeah, so I think it was a natural extension of things, and I had gotten into news broadcast, and I realized that I loved doing the tech stuff, I loved the edit stuff, and then I took a film class just as just an elective, and suddenly like all these things that I loved kind of intersected. So.
Well, a lot of news clips where you interview someone and then tell the story and wrap it around it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the kind of thing you're talking about is,
yeah.
you know, maybe we could take this and make it into a film story. Storytelling is very important.
100%.
And in podcasting, storytelling is big time.
Yeah, how could it not be?
Yeah, and when you talk with people and learn more about them, it, to me, is really fascinating to find out.
Yeah,
So-
that's to me, at my core, I think stories are about people, right? Like the best documentaries, the best movies, the best news stories, like you said, is when there's a person that I'm learning about. So.
And that's what makes that fun, because I did news for years on the radio here. Mm-hmm. That was a newscaster, and I had to go out and talk to people and get voiceovers, you know, and then run back to the studio, type the things up, and put those in, and the deadline was really something that was important then, because you had to get to the CBS News at the top of the hour if you were doing your newscast before. And anyway, that's true. It was, I got to know a lot of people. And the mayor, and I had a guy at the city office who would tip me off when things were happening.
Oh.
And so that really helped, because, and we were really good friends, and he'd call me up and he'd say, Art, da-da-da-da, you want to do this? And then one day the county attorney called me up and said, come on with me, we're going down to the Washington-Iron County line. And they had found a dead body up on, you come off that and there's a hill right there. But the problem was, Iron County's on this side, Washington County's on that side. Yeah. And he was telling me on the way down, if it's on this side, then it's going to cost Iron County a lot of money once we find out who did this. But people have been calling in saying, when they stopped at the sign, and it was in the summer and they had the windows rolled down, they smelled this horrible smell. Ugh. So they kept reporting it, and finally somebody found this body that had been dumped off the side of the road.
Wow.
And that story was really interesting. And then the fact that it was, they found that the guy was a 14-year-old kid from New York who had stolen a car and driven across the country. And they found out he had killed this guy in Grand Junction and brought him over here, and finally dumped him out of the car and then he took off. And don't ask me, law enforcement is pretty fascinating too.
Yeah.
How do they find these people, you know? And today it's getting to be a little easier because of DNA and all that. But anyway, sorry, I'm getting off the topic here, but I think storytelling, and that was an interesting story. And at the time I was writing for the Spectrum, the newspaper here. Yeah. And we had just gone daily. This was in like '78. And anyway, it was, and that added to my experience away from radio into print. But I didn't like it as much because you had to write long time stories, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And then everything started to be shorter because they realized that people were not going to read long stuff.
No.
But now people are doing that
Yeah.
in some forms, right?
Yeah, I think there is this interesting school of thought where there's a rejection of kind of shorter stuff. Like we have so much short stuff, and it's so easy to just scroll through and get these 30-second dopamine hits.
Yeah.
That I think, I hope at least that I think people are missing something more authentic, you know, and
Yeah, for sure.
You generally, I think, need more than 20 to 30 seconds to forge that connection, right? And so I think we're seeing more meaningful stuff being made. I say that the next movie I'm going to see is Mortal Kombat 2 on Friday. So I don't know how much authenticity I'm going to get from Shao Kahn ripping some guy's head off, but
How it truly but
it's going to rule. It's going to rule.
Right. Yeah.
So that's. But yeah, I do think art can be meaningful, especially when we give it some time to do its thing. Those stories can be meaningful when we give ourselves time to dig a little deeper. So, and I mean, I like the 30-second stuff. It's fun. It's shiny. It's jingling keys. Who doesn't like a nice key jingle? But I'm glad the other stuff's still there. So.
Jingles sell too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's in advertising. That's
yeah.
And your voice sounds better with music under it as a broadcaster.
Oh, okay.
So that's one thing I learned. I don't know. It's not always that way, but it is for some people. But these short blurbs, well, I had to count because I did a half-hour news every day at 12:30.
Okay.
And it had to be over at 1 o'clock. But I had to read the news, the obituaries, the sports, and then the news that I had gathered.
Okay.
But London Motor Company sponsored it, and it was a major story. Most people alive today wouldn't remember Art Chalice on KSUV radio, here's today's news. Anyway, because that was clear back, and the last time I did it was somewhere around 87.
Okay.
Because I came to the university, and they hired me with a bachelor's degree, partly because of my experience.
Sure.
So that probably helped you to get this job and maybe others before, all the things you'd experienced.
I think so. I think one of the things that working at Bossier Parish Community College and UTRGV gave me was some time to professionally develop a little more. So that's when I was able to, I worked on the Aquavats Red Ventures, which really, I think, gave me an elevation point to move into a more prestigious, not facility, but a more prestigious role. I'd done non-tenured stuff before that, and then I think because I was able to show that I can kind of put up instead of shut up, then, at SU, they're like, all right, let's give this guy a shot. So.
Well, you showed a lot of resilience, and you're adaptable. Would you say that?
I think that's probably my best strength just as a person is I am pretty adaptable, which is crazy because at the sort of microcosm level, I absolutely hate change. These shoes that I'm wearing are probably 5 years old, and at some point I should replace them, but I know I will probably try to glue them together before I send them to the great beyond of shoes. But yeah, I think I'm pretty adaptable with the sort of big picture stuff. I think it helps that as a kid we moved around a lot, and so change just sort of became part of my makeup, you know, and you just figure out, all right, I'm here. What am I doing? How do I make that work?
Yeah.
So, and it's really interesting because I have friends who, you know, they've never left the city that they've grew up in, you know, besides to like go on vacation, right?
Yeah.
But like, and I look at that and I just think, how is that your life? That just seems so so stagnant.
Yeah.
But that's how a lot of people function, you know.
So Salt Lake City was the place where you ended
Yeah.
the
So
travel, or what happened there?
so my dad was in the Army, so we
Okay,
were
that's-
Army brats. And he was a podiatrist. So I was born while he was doing his residency in San Francisco, and then
Okay.
we moved to Los Angeles, and then across the country to Baltimore, and we lived in Maryland for probably 3 years because he worked at Walter Reed, and then we moved to San Antonio for like 6 months so that he could get training, and then we moved to Fort Benning, Georgia. So I moved all those places before I was 7 years old. And it was weird because like I didn't think that was weird. I just thought that's how everybody lived.
Right.
You were all just kind of like a traveling circus, right? And then my dad died, and so
sorry.
thank you. I wish I hadn't pulled the trigger, but no, he had a heart attack.
But there's such a loss in that.
No, it is, you know, and like it irreversibly changed, you know, I think how I view the world. You know, I often make a lot of jokes just there, and I describe myself as traumatized into hilarity. And so, you know, like I always think about like my hope for any kids that I might have. I hope that they have a really boring life. I'm like, I want my child to be like, I'd like to get into business. I'll be like, thank God I did something right.
Now that's an interesting point
I'm
of
like,
view right there.
I'm like, we don't need any more artists. But yeah, I just want them to have a briefcase. But
White shirt and tie and
yeah, you know.
wear a sport suit coat.
Yeah, and then I'm just like the weird old guy that he's like kind of embarrassed about. So we moved to Salt Lake
yeah.
because that's where my mom is from. And so she wanted to have this support network because, you know, I think part of being like an Army family is there's a lot of just
You make friends and you leave
Yeah,
and
you know.
you don't go back.
Yeah. And I mean, my mom has friends from back then that she's still friends with, and that's amazing and remarkable. But it doesn't help you when you're 30 and you have 4 kids and your husband's dead.
Yeah,
you know?
and what do you do?
So we moved there, and that was sort of the biggest time I had stayed anywhere. So I stayed there for about, I don't know, 17 years. And then that's where I went to college. I went to Salt Lake Community College first, and then the University of Utah. And then I finally moved away again, which was a great experience. I moved to Missoula to go to the University of Montana, and that's when I started just kind of cycling through. And now I'm back here in Utah. I can't escape it.
Montana is quite a bit different than Utah, even though it's still the West.
It is very different. I remember just like little things like walking into an Albertsons and seeing a wine section and being like, what is going on?
Yeah, that's true.
And all the like little casinos that they have there. It was crazy. I remember the big thing that I didn't expect was just how few LDS churches there were, right? Like, because I grew up in Sandy, where it's like every
3 blocks.
yeah, there's another one, and I think I maybe saw one LDS church when I was like driving through Missoula one time, and so yeah, it's so interesting because, like I said, when I came in toward the campus here, I fell in love with it, and one of the reasons was it felt so reminiscent to me of
Missoula.
the University of Montana's campus with all the trees, and it just is so interesting that it does feel like it's the same place, but then so it's kind of like I have to use a Mac at work and I use a PC at home, and there are these moments where I'm like, yeah, these are the same, and then there's just subtle differences that make me feel like an absolute idiot, like so that's what I'd say is the big difference between Utah and Montana is like it seems so different or so similar, but then there's these little moments where you're like, oh, this is
Well, in a way, it's almost like going to the wild old west in a way.
definitely.
And they have some places on the campus that have been there a long time.
Oh yeah.
And the SUU basketball team practiced in a practice gym, which was sort of antique. And you could look out the windows and see the new buildings and feel like this is different. Rod just handed me this. He says around 60 to 70% of people live in the same state they were born in.
Wow. Okay.
I guess that's in the U.S. Roughly 70% stay within a few hours of where they were born.
That's wild.
That is. And so that affordability is a factor.
Yeah.
And also maybe familiarity is a factor because you become familiar with where you are.
Oh,
So the
absolutely.
advantage you had was you saw a lot of different places.
Yeah.
And you were young enough maybe that it didn't affect you that much, but you knew you were going to different parts of the country.
Yeah. But it's true. Like, I mean, familiarity, like living up in Salt Lake, right?
Yeah.
We've got mountains to the east, mountains to the west. So anytime I go up to Salt Lake, I know where I'm going. Like I just have like a polar
The
connection,
directional
you know?
thing, yeah.
And then I moved to Louisiana, and it's
Trees
flat.
everywhere and
trees
it's flat.
and cicadas and nothing, right? And I was like, how the hell do people get anywhere? And they're like, we use the freeway as a point of reference, and I'm like, that's so impermanent. That just it felt wrong to me. But yeah, I mean, it's really hard to like leave a place. I mean, it's a huge financial commitment. It's a huge financial risk. Like, I feel really blessed that I've had the freedom to be able to just like pack myself and my dog up and go places, you know? So it's not something that's afforded to everyone. And I definitely acknowledge that what's normal to me is pretty abnormal.
Well, but it's a good experience too.
I think so.
And
I encourage anyone who can to take yourself out of your comfort zone and go somewhere. Got a thumbs up from Rob. I mean, you from a totally different country, my guy.
Yeah, I think
Australia.
It's like what you talk about. I don't know if they can hear me or not, but your norm was to move and move and move. Like, I got in a lot of trouble when I was a kid, so they have to move me from school to school. It was really bad. But it integrated a new way of thinking.
Yeah.
And I think that's opens up an area of your brain that people don't have. And for the most part, people are just too scared to move. Oh, I don't want to go there, it's too hard. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just, you know, like, I don't want my thinking to ever be too insular. Like, and as someone who loves stories, right? Like, the stories that I'm going to hear in Utah are going to be so radically different than the Louisiana stories, than the Texas stories, because we've got these different cultural perspectives. You know, like, when I lived in Texas, I was 20 minutes away from the Mexican border. I was closer to Mexico than I was to any other major city in Texas. And like, the people there are going to be different than the people in Shreveport, you know, like and so it was really amazing to experience those different points of view.
Well, and in Montana, in Missoula, there's a great place there that serves chicken, fried chicken.
Double front.
That's it, the
Yep.
double front.
Yeah, I know my fried chicken.
This
is Body by Fried Chicken, guys. This is,
Well,
yeah.
Rick, the trainer, Ricky Mandini, who still lives here in Cedar City, but he's retired from that at SUU, we would go, and he had a friend there, and every time we got to Missoula, we'd call him up, and he'd say, we're going to the double front. And then you go downstairs, and they still have the waiter thing where they go up and down, and it comes down, and they take, you know, and that is an experience that a lot of people probably haven't ever had, but the food there is incredible.
Yeah.
If I ever get there again, that's where I'm going to eat.
Yeah.
And it's probably not good for my heart.
Well, yeah, but you know, what is, right?
Hey, explain the dumb waiter thing, because I don't think many people know about these things.
Well, they had like 2 floors. You'd go in on the top floor, and then they took you downstairs in the seating, because that's where they served the good chicken. So upstairs it was more like a bar and grill type place, kind of.
The bar's on the downstairs area. The standard restaurant was on the top, but they served the same chicken either place, right?
Yeah.
So if you wanted a beer, though, you were downstairs. So they have a dumbwaiter for those of you who didn't grow up watching Casper the Friendly Ghost, right? Like it's like a vertical vent, basically.
Like a closed chute.
Yeah, like just like a chute, and then there's a platform that can be raised and lowered. And so they would put like plates of food on the kitchen on the upstairs, and they would lower it down, and the server could grab it, take it to the thing. When I lived in Maryland as a child, we lived in this house that was part of a decommissioned girls' school dormitory, and they had all these really weird homes. And they were all like themed. There was like a castle home where I almost died because it was condemned and I almost fell through a hole in the floor. They had this like Chinese pagoda house, but we lived in this like colonial mansion style house. And it had a dumbwaiter, although the dumbwaiter was decommissioned, but you could see like the paneling in the walls where the dumbwaiter was.
And it saved the waitresses running up and down the stairs.
Yeah.
At the double front.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And anyway, the guy who used to take us there is now retired too. So if I go there again, he won't be there, but he probably still lives in Missoula.
I mean, if I was living in Missoula, I wouldn't leave Missoula. Missoula's beautiful.
Yeah.
Although it is the only place I've walked through knee-deep snow. So I can't say that I loved that moment. But yeah, Missoula's beautiful.
Montana is very, very unique and it's just an energy about it, huh?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I really like that place.
Yeah. I haven't been back in about 13 years, and I miss it terribly.
We moved up to Whitefish for a minute.
Whitefish is lovely. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's right near, was it Caboolture or whatever is in that road? So it's like the richest of the rich and the poorest of the poor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Whitefish is an exercise in contrasts.
Well, so is Texas. Well,
Yes.
What are some of the communities on the other side of where you lived in Texas, in Mexico?
Oh, so
And it's a stark difference between
It is. So it was really interesting because the border towns, so there were 2 border towns that I would go to. The first one was Reynosa, and that was the closest one. And I wouldn't go there very often because it had a reputation of being a little stabby. And
Watch out for yours, yeah.
and I'm a lover, not a fighter, you know. But we would drive about an hour to the east and go to this town called Nuevo Progreso, and that place was kept safe because the cartels kept it safe. They didn't want crime there because it thrived on medical tourism. So people would go there to get cheap dental work or glasses or whatever, or medication, and I ended up, because there was a month gap between my insurances when I started working at UTRGV, I ended up getting a root canal there, and I'm really grateful that it exists. Although I will say, as someone who had always just like used the U.S. medical system, like I had to take a deep breath before I went in there and like really gird my loins and be brave, because I just, you know, a lot of terrible fantasies about going into a foreign country and then waking up in a bathtub full of ice, right? But it was great. But it was wild too, because you could really get just about any medication there without a prescription. I mean, the tricky part, I guess, would be getting it across the border, right? I say that like I was doing that. No,
No, you aren't.
that you can prove, America. But you would walk and there'd be like street hawkers and they'd be like, hey, do you want to get a shoe shine? I'd be like, no, that's cool. He's like, hey, do you need new prescription glasses? And I'd be like, no. He's like, hey, do you want some Xanax? And I was like, whoa, that is an escalation.
Yeah.
And after I took all of that Xanax, I was ready to leave. Xanax is awful. Sorry, I'm just concealing my trauma, guys.
Okay.
But it was wild. It was, and it was just like walking through this outdoor strip mall of medical facilities and cowboy boot stores. So, like I lived near Mexico. I don't think I've ever seen the real Mexico. I've seen tourism Mexico, and I would like to see real Mexico. Like I really want to go spend like a week in Mexico City or something, you know, and really like try the food and see the people and stuff like that. Because I spent like a week in like one of the touristy, you know, you go to see a step pyramid and then, you know, like it's all beaches. But that's such an inauthentic thing too. That's just cultivated to keep
America happy.
Yeah, just keep America happy and safe, right? And just, you know, shove tortilla chips. You know, like, look at this bird. Isn't that nice? Get on this bus. Isn't that nice? You know, so like that's not like a real place. And so I want to see like a real place.
It's not a real place where you'd want to live, for sure.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way.
Well, let's talk about the film studies deal here at Southern Utah.
I'd love to. It's my
and
favorite
how you're
deal.
part communication and part film studies. And,
Yeah.
and how's that working out?
It's working out great, everyone. So please keep me hired.
I'm sure they will.
I hope so. I hope so. I started here when there wasn't a film program, right? The film program was just a twinkle in our eyes. And John Smith and maybe Gavin Feller, who were comm faculty with film
When he was here.
experience,
and then-
were, I think, part of the development of it, along with English, who had a film studies minor, and a bunch of other people. It was kind of like a continental congress of people trying to build this program.
And the cooperative between departments, which is kind of interesting itself.
Yeah, it's a real interdisciplinary program at its origin. And then Gavin left, and I became new Gavin with way less beautiful hair. Gavin's got this beautiful like mane of red hair. But yeah, so then I was part of the committee to develop that, which was really satisfying. And as it kind of crystallized, some of the contributing departments dropped out, but it is still interdisciplinary in that I would say 70% of it is owned by film, and then probably another 30% is owned by English. They do a lot of like the film studies courses that our film students need to take. And
And
then,
Kyle Bishop does a lot of the zombie type stuff.
yeah. He covers all the zombie stuff that every BFA you need at least 7 credits of zombie related curriculum. And that's, I mean, even if you're doing pottery, like you gotta do the pottery of the undead, right? But it's something you don't appreciate kilns, I guess, until you understand like the transmittive properties of zombie bites, I think is what Kyle was telling me. But I don't really understand it. But yeah, and so I somehow kind of survived the culling, and so I teach basically 50-50, sometimes 70-30, depending on the semester and what comm versus
What's needed
film
to
needs
be.
me, you know.
Yeah.
And it ultimately is pretty good. There are some things that I struggle with. Like I feel like I have way less student continuity with comm. Like I teach basically, you know, like one intro level class. Sometimes I teach some other classes, but it's very rare for me to work with a student over a long period of time in comm, you know, and like I would see the relationships that Hayden would develop or that you would develop or Matt or Braden or whatever. Lige, I'm just listing all the comm faculty. I love all of them. Lindsay, Breckley, Carissa. But Michelle, sorry, I'm not gonna exclude anyone at this point. I think that's everybody. If not, you can throw a brick through my window. But you know, like I see these relationships that they build, and Matt and Kevin, please don't. Jonathan, jeez, okay.
We're getting a lot bigger.
Yeah, I'm gonna just press
need a
forward
written
because
list.
a podcast where I make a list of names is probably not that interesting. But like I see, you know, the relationships that they build, and I don't have that in comm, right? And that's, I think, the most satisfying thing about teaching for me is building those like fostered, you know, relationships. And I get that with film, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's struggles there in that, like, just based on how it's structured, like I see them a lot their first year, and then I don't interact with them basically at all their second year, and then I kind of see them at the end. So it's weird, and so I miss out on a lot of their like really critical growth, but it is still really, really valuable. And then one of the things I was actually telling Rob about is one of the things I really like about being in comm is I'm a little bit of a unicorn here, right? Like where so much of what we do in comm and in HSS really is academic, right? Is research based, is paper based, and I'm out there like making stuff, like making my dumb little videos and things and writing my scripts, and so there's a lot of support from this college and this department for me to pursue those artistic things. Whereas if I was just a full-time film professor, that would be a lot harder because in filmmaking, art, and design, I'm one of 30 faculty who all have the same sort of needs that need to be met, you know, like of getting finance to put together their art. So it's an interesting, like, there's struggles to it, but there's values to it. And honestly, like, I feel really blessed that at the end of the day, both departments that I'm connected to, I have probably the best faculty that I've ever worked with as far as just like collegiality. on both sides. I feel incredibly blessed for that. I don't love going to 2 graduations a year. That's a lot. Especially this year, our first one was at 8 in the morning, and then I had to just like hang around until noon. And I was just like in my office eating a Lunchable, just being really sad in my robe.
Lunchables can save you at times.
I needed energy so that I could take steps, and a Lunchable did that. So
Lunchables can also give you cancer in California.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't eat them in California.
Okay, that's all right.
Yeah.
Well, California's gas prices are now up to what, $9 a gallon?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yep.
But it's working out for
It
you.
is, and I think that I'm contributing to both places, and I think that I'm, being a good member of those teams. So, I hope someone would tell me if I'm not. So.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
Yeah.
And it is a difficult thing
It is.
in some ways, but in other ways it's your home base is right there. But now that Hayden's moving on,
It is a little weird for
it's
sure.
going to be different
Yeah.
for you.
I do like it though because I think I'll never be asked to be chair because I have too many duties like split up, and being the chair sounds like a real bummer. So
Well, it's a long road to hoe. I was the chair for 9 years till
Yeah.
2019.
yeah, you were the chair who you
when
interviewed me.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And we talked about Big Sky Sports.
Well, now fortunately we're going back to the Big Sky.
Yeah, it just cost
But-
us what,
but
$30
it's
million?
Yeah, the WAC didn't quite continue on, and now I
Yeah.
don't know what they're going to do because they're going to lose the ability to send somebody to the tournament in basketball if they don't have enough teams.
Oh gosh.
So, but now Big Sky, we have had those relationships, but it's been since 2012. So,
Yeah.
and that's how I've been to Missoula and Spokane and all over the place, Sacramento, San Luis Obispo.
Oh man.
I only have 3 states to go that I have to go to:
What are the 3?
Maine, Vermont, and I've been to Massachusetts. Maine, Vermont, and New Hampshire,
Oh, you just.
where they're advertising the programs on TV about
Yeah. Oh man.
all the time. Well, it's fun. Well, I appreciate you being here, and
It was my pleasure, man.
we probably should have talked about some of your film festival things that you're able to do, and have people. We've had a hard time keeping that going, but now that you're here, I think it is.
I think we've got the T-Bird Film Festival that
Yeah.
we do each year, and we're trying to keep growing that. The film program now has their thesis showings each year, and it's gotten better and better. It's we're really, thank you. Yes. I'm always stunned by the level of artistic creativity that we're seeing in Cedar City, Utah. So this place is a great fostering point for art.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Bill. It's been a pleasure to get to know you better
Likewise.
and find out, what's
Yeah.
really making both of us tick, right?
Yeah, I'm just glad we both like double fronts. If you had started talking shade about double front chicken, I think we'd have a very different end
Maybe
to
we'll
this
just hop in the
podcast.
car and go there sometime
Yeah,
and
for sure,
check
man.
out the double front.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Well, that'll do it for this episode of A Time for Art. We thank Bill for being here with us, and we'll see you again next week, more than likely, as long as my producer is
We're good.
hanging in there. So thanks a lot. Have a great day, everybody.